here we are. We're continuing to build that map that allows us to be and become our truest, best self. And we're going to keep applying the concept of being and becoming fearless to look at any and all parts of ourselves, as well as looking at any and all parts of our society that are not in alignment with our larger truth of who we are, who we still want to become. And we will put this under the umbrella of oppression. First, self-oppression. Self-oppression is essentially ways in which we mute or cut off parts of ourselves as a byproduct of feeling pain or shame or blame, etc. And the way we cut off those parts of ourselves is through the defenses that we erect, that we throw up, things like denial that cut off those parts. Now we need to ask ourselves, so why do we cut those parts off? We cut them off because we feel threatened by them. The threat comes in the form of feeling shame and possible rejection or loss of love. It comes in the form of a feeling of inadequacy and feeling like we don't measure up to other people, which then means we will lose out or be diminished in this world. It comes in the form of threat of not being able to experience ourselves as powerful or as competent or is smart or beautiful or whatever it is that we want to see ourselves as in this world. If we feel that threat, we then often will use defenses to cut off looking at those parts of ourselves fully. And that's a form of self-oppression, because we will never be or become our truest, best selves when we allow ourselves to be afraid to look at those parts that actually will free us. So the next time you notice yourself, or the next time we notice ourselves denying something that we have a strong reaction to, remember, when we have strong reactions to something, that's another indication for us to identify a truth that lies within us. So when somebody says, you have been cruel to me in the way that you spoke to me, we want to look at that and say, what is that about? Rather than feeling the desire to throw up the defenses and deny it, which then creates separation between ourselves and whomever is sharing that with us. But it also creates separation within ourselves, because we then deprive ourselves of taking hold of that part of ourselves and then growing it and looking at, what do I need to do different? How do I want to be in this world? How do I want to align myself with my larger purpose and my larger sense of who I am? And through being fearless and being non-judgmental towards ourselves, recognizing that people are people and people do what people do, and we are people. So when we recognize that, it allows us to embrace ourselves, not be judgmental, because judgmental attitudes towards ourselves cut us off. And when we embrace ourselves, we then are able to see more fully who we are and who we still want to become. Remember, always believe in the possibility of making the impossible possible. Thank you. Sincerely, fellow world citizen.